Hello, today is Thursday, July 15th. I'm Tracy Anderson, and let's look at some markets, starting with beef. Beef continues to move lower. Packers are doing all they can to slow this market's downward move, but it's moving. Last week's holiday production was 582,000 head, down from the previous week's 626,000 head. These light production numbers are doing what they hoped, keeping the downward movement moderated, but the tone continues lower. I see this market moving lower through the end of the month, and now I'm thinking maybe into early August. I think the lower ground beef prices will be very modest as demand for grinds is strong. Middle meats continue lower, though tenderloins are showing some surprising price resistance. Rounds and chucks still holding some value too, but as production gets over 650,000 a week, we will see this market continue to move lower. Now looking at pork, and is just not letting up. Production was about 26% below last year, and remember last year was not a great summer for anyone. Continuing a theme, production is tight. Bellies moved up another $20 over the last week, closing at $198, up from last week's $178. Cold storage is pretty empty, so I don't see this fixing anytime soon. Butts continue lower, so some good news in the pork complex. Let's look to September for this to improve. Now let's talk chicken, and it looks like the balance is pretty good. Prices are holding pretty steady this week with good availability. Tender's still the expensive type product for the chicken. Boneless, skinless thighs continue to cost more than boneless, skinless breasts. 3 weeks now, so when do we call it a trend instead of an event? Production is holding up with 239 million egg sets with a hatch rate of 79.8. Same time last year was 234 million egg sets with a hatch rate of 82.5. Taking the long view, looking at fall and winter, I think wings are going to be stupid expensive again for the upcoming football season. Hopefully a buying opportunity will present itself before then. Now looking at grain, and last week I mentioned wheat might join the corn and soybean band. Well, sorry to report, spring wheat cash is up this week and strongly. It's worth keeping an eye on. The king, corn, is at $6.68 a bushel, up from last week's $6.42. South American crop is almost done, with harvest coming in, this will be a surprise, below expectations. Soy continues to be very strong, moving higher again, with a close of $14.53. I'm looking for good news to share in the grain markets, and I haven't found it yet. And lastly, a look at dairy markets. The CME through Thursday's close, barrel is up 4, block is up 2, and butter has no change. There's plenty of milk available. I do hear some labor and transportation issues in dairies, but they're not unique with those challenges, so I'm not seeing much upward push for right now. Okay, I'm done. Next week is vacation week, so we'll be back in 2 weeks with more market updates. Okay, now I'm really done. Thanks for listening, and let's do it again in 2 weeks.